Hey guys, this is Michael here. I'm your Millionaire Mentor and I'm going to share with you a little bit more about property investments. So today I'm going to cover a little bit of a topic over here, which is pros and cons from buying from a developer. Now, a lot of you are looking for a lot of projects out there or properties out there may know that you can get properties from many areas. I've already covered that in the past where you can get it either from the sub-sale or from the auction unit. Today, we're going to cover about new development properties. So if you're going to buy and considering buying from developers here, maybe I want to list down with you first the good and the bad of buying from a developer right now today. So here goes. So let's start with the pro first, right? So the pros buying from the developers. So one of the things I always tell are pretty easy. The first one I'm going to show you right now is this, right? It is easy, okay? It's really easy to buy from a developer because if you ever want to look for a project, all you need to do is go online and you can see a lot of these projects being launched, all right? Now, developers obviously want to make money, so their marketing campaigns are huge and they continue to go out there and bombard the social media, even in the newspapers and everywhere else, on billboards, everywhere, to allow you to see all their projects. So it's very accessible for you to find a property like this. Whereas, for example, I'm talking about if you were to compare to sub-sale or auction where you have to search over and over again and drag the internet to find out the actual property, right? This one over here is really easy to find. Plus the fact that because it's launching for a period of maybe 1 to 3 years, that actual project will be there for a long time. So it's convenient for you to actually keep on looking over and over again. Okay, now number two is this. New. So number two, okay, it's new, right? Now, of course, you cannot beat buying from a developer because new properties beat everything else. You don't want to buy a property, inherit the old problems like plumbing, electrical, or maybe the odd designs that the previous owner has made into the property, right? If you're one of those that loves a brand new property which you can put all the furnishing in, put all the design yourself, nothing beats buying from a developer. Right, so let's go on to the number 3 right now. And number 3 is something called easy, but not just easy, it's called easy entry. So an easy entry means it is actually cheap for you to buy. Most developers gives you a lot of good packages right now, okay? So their packages will give you a lot of rebates or discounts, right? So they'll give you discounts, okay? There may be even certain financing given by the banks and the government, right? Previously, there was given something called the HOC, which is a home ownership campaign by the government. So there may be once in a while a lot of promotions given by governments and even by the banks themselves or even by the developer themselves for allowing you to buy a property relatively cheap. Now, you do know that when you do buy a property, you need to put at least 10% down. And in most of these cases, these packages or discounts or even rebates will allow you to come in with less money. Usually, they'll only ask you for even 1%. There are some cases 1%, and in some cases even for literally free. So go out there, go and do the research, but this is one of the key reasons why it is so easy for you to buy from a developer, okay? Reason number 4, okay? So convenient, right? So it is convenient for you to buy from a developer, and one of the reasons why is because you've got all the lawyers and all the bankers ready there already. So it's a one-stop solution. So I call it the one-stop solution here. And what I mean by here is that basically you would have the lawyers available for you, you have the bankers available for you, they even have the banking, all the banking facilities there. You maybe have 3 to 4 banks to pick from to apply for your loans. The lawyers will have all the legal terms inside and they will cover a lot of things. Like for example, your MOT, okay, that means it's your transfer of your title to you and all this other technical stuff, okay. All of it will probably be all conveniently packaged up by the developer, so you don't have to figure all this out when you buy the property. All you need to do is sign on the dotted lines, apply for the bank loan, and then wait for the property to complete. All right, so now number 5. Last but not least, okay, you have choice. So you get to pick the unit that you want to stay in. One of the best things about buying from developers is that if you come in early, you get to pick which direction or which facing you want to have. If you're buying a house, you can either pick an end lot or a corner lot or one of the intermediate units. If you're in a condominium, you can even pick the floors that you want to come in, which direction you want to face, whether you want to see the KLCC towers or whether you want to see the pool view. Is absolutely your choice. So the convenience and the choice of you picking it makes it ideal if you're going for developer units. So now let's go into the cons of going for developers. So The cons of going to the developers. So it's not all the rosy picture all the time. So I'm going to share a couple of things right now you need to look out for if you want to buy from a developer. Okay, so number one. You need to wait years before you actually get a property to be completed. So you need to plan ahead of time. Now, of course, when you buy it, that time is off a plan and basically they haven't built the property yet. So by the time it actually completes, it usually takes anything from 3 to 5 years, okay, for a project to finally complete. So if you're looking for your ideal home, you better start thinking 5 years ahead of time or maybe 3 years ahead of time before you start purchasing it, okay? So now, point number two. So point number two is this, that you have to pay while waiting. So what really happens over here is that you don't actually get it for free. Once you put your deposits over there and you lock in the price, in most cases, you will have to pay the banks while you're waiting. Now, it's not as expensive as the whole deal, the whole interest, but it's what we call progressive interest. And what that really means is that from the day you sign on the dotted lines to the day you get your keys, maybe about 3 years later, you will start to pay incremental values of your installments, okay, step by step. Until the day you actually get the keys, you can pay the full installment value by that time. So you have to prepare additional savings for you to allocate this money aside. Otherwise, you may run out of cash before you get your dream home. Now, let's move on to number three. Let me tell you the horror stories right now, okay? You may be unfortunate enough to get into a project whereby it may not complete at all. Now, how many of you have heard of stories whereby developers go bankrupt? As a matter of fact, it has happened as recent as the past 2 years. And this is something really important that I want you to take good care of. Before you go into a project just because it's absolutely cheap, check the background of the developer. Not all of them may last the 3 years or 4 years to complete the property, and if that happens, you would end up paying to the banks perpetually. I have known people to have paid to the banks 5, 10, 20 years, as long as it takes before somebody comes back and revives the project again. Now, if the person doesn't revive the project again, or nobody revives the project again, you will probably end up paying forever to the banks so long as the property is not completed. And my friends, that is a dream turned to a nightmare. Okay, so now number four. Okay, so number four, what you see is not what you get. So I'm going to warn you about this first. When you go into their showrooms and you see the pleasantries of the nice property and the designs, what I ask you to do is take note of everything. And when I say take note of everything, I mean everything. I usually experience is what you see in the nice, beautiful showroom is not what you get when you actually get your property. So watch the dotted lines and the contracts. See what you're signing for inside there and make sure everything's in details. Most of the time, in developers, you have defects that may come with the units that you've completed with, especially if condominiums or large volumes, large scale productions, the quality may not be that right. And you may end up with a lot of cracks or even tiles chipping or even leakages even before you get the property. Number two, you may even get furnitures which are missing or not up to the grade that's promised for you. A lot of developers that promise you fully furnished will probably end up getting you your properties from Taobao or Alibaba. So please be careful when you actually agree and see what kind of furniture you have. Last but not least, I've also seen some developers actually change the designs and the layouts of the units before giving it to you. I have actually bought 1 or 2 properties whereby the sizes were actually smaller than what was specified on contract. So these are things that you have to be careful for, right, when actually buying from the developer. Last but not least, point number 5. Okay. So point number 5 is unknown neighbors. Now, this is not the fault of the developer, of course, but one of the things you could do is before you buy a property is check the surrounding areas to see who are the actual target market around the area, all right? Because I've seen horror stories as well that when you actually buy a property and it's a beautiful property, but because of the location or maybe of the attraction of different crowds, you may end up with unfavorable neighbors, right? And this is one thing that cannot be stopped. So some of the things you have to check out right now is to see who are the people surrounding that. Who knows, you may have a beautiful property, fully renovated, nice to move in, and having the neighbors that will be your nightmare of your life. So these are things that I want to share with you first before you consider buying. I hope it has helped you guys out around, but I've shared about the pros and the cons of buying from developers. I hope this has helped you guys. So put in your comments below, tell me what you want to hear so I can do another video for you guys so you can learn more. So this is Michael, your Millionaire Mentor, signing off right now. See ya.